Good morning and welcome to Conversations with Anasa. So happy to be with you this morning. Let's start with meditation. Can you hear me okay? Okay. So take your attention deep into the energy center below your belly button. With a very deep breath. And allow your belly to expand against all the advice of our gym teachers throughout time. Allow your belly to be relaxed as you breathe into that energy center. Now allow yourself to become aware of the space between the breaths in that energy center. And now drop your attention between any thoughts that might arise, so that all of your awareness is centered just below your belly button. From this place, if you feel called to, you can ask the question, is there anything I need to know? Or what do I need to know? See, hear, feel, taste, touch. Hear. And allow yourself to receive. And you can hold this question as we move our attention down into the energy center at the base of the spine. Releasing yourselves deeply into the awareness of each of these energy centers. When you feel complete, allow your attention to rise to the solar plexus. First, breathing into the energy center. Then feeling into the space between the breaths. Then drop your attention between the thoughts. Allowing yourself to be informed. When you're ready, move to the heart center. And here we begin to dedicate ourselves to love. I am love. We have to speak our desire very clearly in the present. And here we allow ourselves to receive in a different way. Visualize great healing taking place in your heart. When you're ready, allow that love to rise up to your throat center. I am love, all in capital letters. Always dropping your attention between any thoughts that arise. When you're ready, allow your attention to rise to the third eye. I am light. Allow yourself to become pure light. And now we dedicate this practice to the highest benefit for the whole. So that every life that our life touches is blessed. As we have been blessed through the magic, mystery, and miracle of the divine. Gently allow your eyes to open, holding to this inward connection. How may we serve this morning? So if you remember, I think everybody's been around for a number of years. We used to do I am meditations all the time. And we've circled around to very much wanting our practice to be in present time, not in some future desire. Not a future oriented wish, but a present time realization. Because what good is any spiritual practice that happens in the future that we may never come to? It's always tomorrow. Keeping us captive in the future rather than forcing us to face what's between us and our ultimate capacity. When we look at our lives throughout time and space, we will always find many things to dislike about ourselves, our experience. And as we come to understand the all parts are welcome message, we understand that this is information, but the real thing is contact and holding to that divinity. That is our birthright. And allowing any delusion of separation to just be released in whatever thing we need to do, whatever way we need to change our matrix of belief to allow ourselves that connection in this moment. Understanding always that we are a work in progress. That even those who declare themselves to be enlightened are not perfect. Perfection is not required. Connection is what is required. And it's our experience that the easiest way to feel love is to give it to others. And then we become a channel for it. But interestingly, we have to love ourselves before we have it to give. But as we give it, we learn it. It's a paradox. And that doesn't mean that we have to be connected to other people exactly. We can give it in the Anasa temple, which interestingly, as we've all experienced, may be the place where it counts the most. Because we are giving freely of our connection there. We are confident that we are in our highest best, giving to the highest best of whoever and whatever we are relating to. Does this make any sense? Also, we can die in the Anasa temple if we choose. How may we serve? Yes.
So a friend of ours talked about, and when there's a difficulty in a relationship or communication, uh, concentrating on the love between and the space between you and the other person. Is this, can you speak about this at all?
So we've been asked to speak about, a friend of ours spoke about a practice where when there's difficulty in a relationship, you focus on the love between the two people. This assumes that there is already the experience of love between the two people, so that this field already exists. It is not so much different from going to the Anasa temple, but in the Anasa temple, because it is one higher self relating to the highest in the other, there's a level of, we're just going to use the word clean connection, because there's a kind of purity outside of time and space that the assumption has to be there when you do this practice with another person, that the purity of the time and space love is what is being invoked or evoked. Does that make sense? And so it's safer. Going to the Inasa temple is actually doing that and inviting the highest of. It's just a little more complicated to make it really clean. We require of ourselves to be in the highest best, and we ask to deliver our message to the highest best. But of course, it's focusing on the love itself. However it's articulated. It's the same practice. It just assumes that the highest selves are there. And we know that's already true for this person, and that in the context of the conversation, they were speaking as though that was common knowledge for us as well. Does that make sense? That in the context of the conversation, they assumed that we understood that it was outside of time and space. But this kind of shorthand can be very confusing if we don't understand it as shorthand. And we're going to go a little bit further and say that the Inasa temple is not outside of us. In the beginning, we visualize it that way because we don't understand ourselves. We can't allow ourselves to embody that love. And so to access it as some other outside of ourselves is much easier. But nothing is outside of us. Everything that happens is in us. And it sounds like riddles. But as we expand our field of experience, our field of awareness, and understand that time and space don't really exist, that they are three-dimensional concepts really used to control us and keep us grounded in a way. But in order to transcend, we become grounded in a way that encompasses all of it. Understanding always that in our experience, there will be expansion and contraction. in every dimension of our experience: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So one moment we may feel totally connected, and the next moment totally disconnected. That's reacting to that is like reacting to the in-breath as success and the out-breath as failure. So we train ourselves to release judgment and instead focus on awareness, which is not between our ears, but in the space just below the belly button. And in that awareness, we are present. When we float out the top of our heads, we're somewhere else. Dream time. Which is not without value. Thank you for that question. Did that answer it? We welcome your questions, experiences, anything you'd like to share. Yes.
Yeah, good morning. That was really salient for me. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about contraction and dealing with contraction, which seems like it can manifest itself in a lot of different ways, especially physical and mental. Um, Physical when things are going wrong and you know you just can't quite get into a good space.
You know, Rebecca had a patient some years ago who was nearing 100, if not over 100. Can't remember the exact age. But she had this practice where once a week she would take off all her clothes and go into she would be in the bathroom, take off all her clothes, stand in front of a full-length mirror, and turn around very slowly, looking at her entire body. And she would say, "This is my body now," to herself. And she would do the same thing with her mobility and her mind and all the parts of herself, all the parts of ourselves that we would normally reject. And she'd say, "This is what's true now." So that she was in real time with herself. And I found that practice to be so illuminating in a way, to hold ourselves in the reality as we train ourselves to believe that we don't have to deteriorate. At the same time, it's important to be who we are in the moment, because we've all been influenced by the matrix of belief that we must deteriorate. And so we're in this funny place of choosing as well as we possibly can against our indoctrination, which has been quite powerful, because we've seen so many people in our own family lineage and around us in life deteriorate as they go toward death. So that's really the major part of our experience. And so it seems like denying that is not true. I mean, that we don't have to age is really not our experience. And so the truth is, what's really important is our connection. That we do the best we can with our matrix of belief, that we suspend it as much as possible, because as we do that, we create the opportunity for those around us to live it better. Does that make any sense? In creating the field of awareness where aging and deterioration are not part of the same thought, we give it as much credence as we can, because that energetically becomes more of a possibility for human beings as we feed that in ourselves. Whether we realize it in this lifetime or not is immaterial. But in feeding that possibility, we are allowing it into the field of potential reality. So we can understand life really is expansion and contraction all the time with every breath. And so we have different experiences that we when it happens mentally and emotionally, we tend to view the expansions as healthy and the contractions as unhealthy, the expansions as failure and the contractions as success. I mean, the expansion as success and the contraction as failure. And when we understand that expansion and contraction are really two sides of the same coin, and that they happen in every breath, they happen in every experience, and they are part of the natural laws of love. It sort of goes along with that. There's a time and place for everything, you know, that all experience is welcome, that there's a kind of acceptance that arises with this understanding, and a kind of peace with no matter what happens. Because we understand that we're in a process, we're part of a process that because of our matrix of belief that we are completely disconnected individuals. And because of that, we have a free will that gives us power over our experience. We judge every experience because we want to make it happen differently the next time. But what if experience is just experience and not a reflection? That requires reaction. At the same time, in dedicating ourselves to the highest best and everything that we do to that highest best, we enter into a flow beyond time and space that has different logic to it, different rules to it. And that's when we focus on the love. That's where it takes us. And it's all very contradictory because we are constantly changing. We are a dynamic system that is constantly changing. And these expansions and contractions happen in different parts of ourselves at all times. And so we reach for that which is beyond time and space to be free. At the same time, we dedicate everything to the highest best in this dimension, with the intention that our life is a blessing to the whole. Whatever that means to our individual life. And all of these moving parts. You know, just looking at the sky, you can see everything changes every day. Some parts faster and some parts slower, but everything changes. And these are the things that influence much of what we experience. So it's hard to feel like we have lots of control in any way except alignment. With alignment, we become participants rather than reactors. And understand that our mind is incapable of comprehending ultimate reality. And that language is a huge limitation in attempting to comprehend that which is beyond time and space. Because every concept we have in our mind is grounded in time and space. Every word that we speak is a reflection of time and space. And alignment is an experience that we cultivate in meditation. And you'll notice we're constantly changing what happens in meditation because it's a dynamic system and looked at from different angles, it's completely different and yet completely the same. Does that help? We've forgotten the question. Sorry.
So that was good. A lot of really good things. It it reminded me how hard it must be for you to keep translating from the non-language, non-linear, and funneling it into you
That's
know,
not my job. That's not my job. My job is just to open the channel.
but you do, and let it go, let it flow, and not try and like hold on to it. Yeah, it's it's quite a process, but it's nice to have that connection.
Well, one of the things that happens is that I start to feel like I just spoke a whole bunch of word salad that didn't make any difference, that didn't make any sense to anyone. And so I only hope. But that's my mind wanting it to make sense, and it so the act of faith is in allowing it to be what it is. And the thing I'm really seeing today as I watch is that apparent contradiction is there everywhere. Because depending on perspective, expansion and contraction is happening in different parts of us at the same time. And so it gets very complex within us to try to interpret even whether we're in an expansion or a contraction. Because most of the time we're in both in different parts of ourselves. And there's so much of our experience that is outside of our mental process. It's like 10% of our brain is actually creating our thoughts or participating in intellectual understanding. So 90% is doing other things. So it makes sense from just about any perspective, understanding that allowing is how we can really be informed. And that love and light are what we are cultivating within ourselves. By allowing peace with all the complexity, just allowing it to come to peace. What else? So let's go into meditation. Thank you so much for coming. So beautiful to be with you. Bye for now.